So what is the upcasting? This is a term I would like you to memorize, please. So let's say that we have a class A, and then we have a class B that extends A. So A is the upclass, B is the subclass. And then we can say this, A is equal to new B. So this will be a polymorphic object, and then this will be called upcasting. So we have a parent class, and then we are here putting a B object. The B is the subclass, but we are keeping it in an upper class. So this will be a polymorphic object, which means that only methods defined in A will be run, but when we run it, the overridden ones will be run the overridden runs will be executed. Again, if we have this like class bike, we have this run function in which it just is running, and then we have this another function class that says splendor that extends bike. So this is the subclass, and then it overrides this run function. So when we say bike B is equal to new splendor, so we are doing an upcasting, which means that now this becomes a polymorphic object. So when we say b.run, now instead of printing this running message, it will print running safely with 60 kilometers. So this is called upcasting. And one more example. Let's break it down. Okay. So we have this class bank. It all has this get deposit time. I would like you to know the output. Okay. So let's try to read it, please, and then we'll go over that. So in deposit time, it returns 0. We have this SBI extends bank, it returns 2. We have ICICI extends bank, it returns 3. We have class X's extends bank, returns 1. So we have all these three classes. All of them are extending bank, and they are just returning different value for this get deposit time. And then in this class, in the main function, we have this bank B. Okay, we first say B is equal to new SBI, and then we print B.get deposit time. And then we say B.new ICI, and then we print B.get deposit time, and then we say new access, and then we call this again. What will be the output? Two, three, one. So let's look at it. So here is the main thing. I'm always calling the same function, like B.get deposit time. So from a compile time, if you just read it, I'm just calling the same things. From the same instance, I'm calling the same function. But in the runtime, I'm always getting a different result. What will it be is, I first put a SPI object. So when I call this, it will go to this one, and it will return 2. And then I convert it to ICI. So when I call this again, now it will go to here, and it will print 3. And then I put the access object here. So when I call this again, now it will go to here, and then it will print 1.
If I don't override the function or the method, in the subclass, will it go to the superclass?
Yes. So if it is not overridden, it will use whatever is defined in the parent class. Yes. Here's one more example. But this is about now data attribute. So short knowledge that you need to memorize, polymorphism does not apply to the attributes. It only applies to the methods. So what does it mean? Well, let's say that we have this class bike. It has this attribute 90, speed limit 90. And then we have Honda, which extends bike. It says speed limit 150. And then when I create this polymorphic object, which says bike object is equal to new Honda. Now, this is a polymorphic object, not fully Honda, not fully bike object. But then when I'm trying to print its attribute, object.speed limit, then what happens is it doesn't print 150, it prints 90. So this polymorphism applies only to the functions, but not to the attributes. Shall I proceed? All right. Again, with a multi-level inheritance, what will it change? Well, basically, the idea will not change as a spoiler. So we have a class animal which has this function eat. So it prints just an animal is eating. And then we have this dog. It extends animal. Okay. A dog is eating fruits. And then we have this baby dog. It extends dog. So we have animal as a and its sub class is dog, and its sub class is baby dog. And now we create animal here, 3 objects. A1 is new animal, A2 is new dog, A3 is baby dog. All of them will be acceptable because like baby dog is a dog and dog is an animal. So that's why I can say animal A3 is equal to new baby dog. It's valid. And when I'm calling this eat function, in all of them, the overridden version will be executed. Like for the A1, it's a fully animal object. So an animal is eating will be executed. For A2, it's a dog object, so it says a dog is eating fruits. And A3 is a baby dog, so it says a dog is drinking milk. So from a multi-level inheritance, it will not change that. Let me ask you one thing. If in baby dog class, let's say that we didn't define this eat function, okay? So we only defined for the dog and for the animal. What would be the output when we run a3.eat? A dog is eating fruits. Or the first one. Or who says first? Who says second? Sure. Let's say that for the baby dog, I didn't define this eat function. Okay? So it's empty. So I only defined for the dog and for the animal. And then when I run this a3.eat, which is the baby dog, what will be the output? Is it an animal is eating, or is it a dog is eating fruits?
A dog eating fruit.
Okay, so yeah, we have different waves. That's a good one. Think, well, it's also a nice quiz question or a final.
An animal is eating because it's polymorphic object, so it will return to the animal. It's fruits.
So the answer is it will be a dog is eating fruits. So what is happening is from a baby dog perspective, okay? Okay, it inherits all the functions from animal, okay? But then though when it's coming to dog already overrides it. So for the baby dog, the eat function will not even if for a fully baby dog function, it would run a dog is eating fruits. So from an inheritance one, the closest one will be executed from this inheritance level. I think you should take notes that I said that this will be a quiz question. Or it's on YouTube, whatever. Shall I proceed? I've already talked about this static and dynamic binding, but just as a different name, maybe I didn't mention it. Yeah, for the static binding, we also say early binding, and also for the dynamic binding, I said late binding. These are just the same name for the same, different names for the same term. And I will actually explain this in a different way. Yeah, this is the same example, so I will just skip it. I would like to move to the static one here. Yeah, first. Is it? So what I will show is, for the static binding, I would like to give for the static binding, what I will do here is, I will change this data type, okay? We had this calculate final price function. I made it static, okay? So I will save it. And then I'm getting here error now. That is fine, because I need to make it static also. So I'll also make it all of them static. That is fine. All right, we were already getting this error, fine. So now, not to confuse ourselves, I will delete the comment at this part. If you remember this code again, now we will rerun it again. So I added these 3 items, and then I'm trying to calculate the total price. In the beginning, if you remember, the result was 31. But now I just changed this. I just made it static. Now what will be the output?
All of them will be 1.
Well, perhaps 0 because it is 0. So when we run this code now, I'll save it and then run it now. Now total price is 0. So what happened is, for the static functions, there is only static binding. There is no dynamic binding. That's why what it means is, Java says that when in the compile time it decides what should be executed. So in the compile time it looks at the code. All right, so this I, well, it looks like it's an item object. So I need to, and this is a static one. So I need to run calculate final price of item class. In the runtime I put there toy, food, water, but it doesn't care about it. Now polymorphism, this dynamic binding does not work for the static functions. So like just the name static methods, static binding. So it doesn't, and it doesn't work in, it doesn't, this dynamic binding does not work for the static methods. It only works for non-static ones. Shall I proceed?
So it only consider the one in the main super class. Or the static, they're all static. It only consider the one in the super class.
It only considers the non-static ones. So this is a static one in the item class. So I cannot, in the open polymorphism one, it won't be affected. But if I had another class, another function that is not static, then this will be affected because this is not static.